Hello, and welcome to Confidently Wrong, a show by regular dudes talking with confidence about content we have no right to speak about with any kind of authority, but do it anyway. I'm Wesley Nakamura, and as always, I'm joined by award-winning director Brian Redondo and Savon Jones, aka Captain Bonnie. This is episode 75, and we'll be stepping into the Noor dimension of Ms. Marvel before a little what we're loving. I'm confident that it's going to be the best show you've ever listened to, and well, hey, if it's not, you can always ask us for a refund.
Incredible!
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I believe this is our 75th show, our diamond show right here, y'all. So I'm really excited about this one, and it comes on a show.
Get us some jewelry.
I don't get that.
It comes in a show that involves hard light, and diamonds are basically just hard sources of light. So,
Is it though? Is it though?
All right, we're moving right along here. Just ignore the host. Don't worry, it's fine. Ms. Marvel.
I'm still thinking it over. I'm not there yet.
I respect that you tried. Kinda.
So, Ms. Marvel wrapped up their show about a week and a half ago, something like that. Maybe 2 weeks ago, actually, at this point. And what a cool, fun teenage show. A lot of adventures happening here. Gentlemen, what did you think of the show as a whole? Totally spoilers. Oh, yeah, I should say that. I guess there's spoilers coming, ladies and gentlemen. So if you haven't seen Ms. Marvel and you don't like spoilers, this is not the show for you.
Is it weird that a lot of people have not been watching Ms. Marvel? That's the sense that I get from all the geek culture media, right? Like, it's not top
I think
of
Savon
the
would
zeitgeist.
say, yeah,
People
I think
are
Savon
all
would
over
say
the boys, for sure.
that this is...
You already know what I'm about to say.
that Disney Plus is not meant for, the shows are not meant for everyone. They're just, they're picking and choosing their audiences, and they're okay if they're not grabbing everybody for the shows.
I mean, the fact of the matter is that, I mean, look, to keep it $150, like, the fact of the matter is that a show like Ms. Marvel that mostly focuses on, like, a Muslim American family in a superhero story that's about a teenager, is it going to appeal to, like, most mainstream white audiences? Like,
and frankly, it's a teenage girl.
Yeah, like, that's just not what's immediately appealing. And
if it was Peter Parker, teenage boy, totally different. I mean, also because he's Spider-Man, but,
A billion fanboys suddenly born.
So, that's just one of those, like, don't watch your shows based on if everybody else is watching it. Give it a try. If you like it, you like it. But you don't need the rest of America or people who you're never going to interact with to validate if the show's anything quality or not. Because as we've seen in most politics or pretty much anything, most Americans are dumb.
Jesus.
The moral of the story is...
I won't say dumb. Well, people don't know what they're talking about. Is that better? That's better. I think that's better.
We just alienated all of our audience. Great.
Speaking of people who don't know what they're talking about, what did you think of Ms. Marvel?
All right. So what parts did you like? What kept you engaged? What maybe didn't keep you engaged? Savon starts off.
Yeah, I mean, the best part of the show is just the actual acting and family interactions. I think a lot of shows and movies aren't actually great at portraying what real family dynamics look like, and a lot of times it feels like you can tell that they're acting. And this show just had multiple, like, throughout the show, every time Kamala interacts with her parents, I'm like, dude, this is how I felt like I've interacted with my parents, or I've seen my family when we're together interacting with each other. Just the one person getting picked on sometimes, one person having certain jokes to make fun of, the whole bit of, well, mama said this and they told this and they was on speakerphone, so everybody knew. I'm like, yeah, that's on the money. So I just think just all the Kamala and her friends, they really feel like high school friends. Like, I felt like, this is how me and my boys were in high school, just playing video games, talking trash. Like, it was all very genuine, and I just had a blast watching that. And I said it before, again, from the lens of a culture I don't really see or know well. It was just great. I think the part that was least engaging, funny enough, was a lot of just not all of, but some of, like, the superhero conflict stuff. It wasn't that I just didn't care, But I just like watching Kamala and her family interact more. You know, I could watch a whole show of Kamala and her family just eating dinner every day of the week because like, I'll watch a show just about that because they're great to watch. So I don't know. That part just really carried the show for me.
Marvel's
Family
nailed
Matters
the
reboot
eating.
coming soon.
Yeah, Marvel nails the conversations around the dinner table genre here. So I agree with what you said that the heart of the show is really Kamala's interactions with her friends and her family, and those characters feel real and three-dimensional, and they're not always consistent with themselves, which is good in a good way. It's not that they're inconsistent. They behave differently in different contexts, and so you're getting to see how these characters are more complex characters than just like, oh, they're just a one-note, mom or a one-note dad. So I did like that. And Kamala just being a big fangirl, that was like fun, right? It raises the show to a level of, this is just going to be a fun show. The kid is having fun. She's just on her superhero game and just excited about being a superhero. There isn't the downtrodden weight of the world on her till a little bit in the end, and I actually think that serves to weaken the story a little bit. The part that maybe I didn't love as much was we didn't really know that much about the clandestines. We didn't get to learn that much about the clandestines, especially even if they just wanted to focus on the main lady, I forget her name, but it's Kamal. No, what's his name? Kamran.
Cameron. It's Cameron. Cameron.
Kamran's mom. I think I should probably look up her name, but Kamran's mom. It clearly has an interesting idea. There's something there that they could have built on, and we just really don't learn why she is the way she is and why she's so hell-bent on opening the veil, and then sort of changes her mind at the end. It just none of that felt super earned. It was also a little bit confusing. She kind of turned into her Terrigen cocoon for a second and then exploded, and you see her skull like pop out of the screen like it was a 3D effect. I mean, they didn't build the clandestines at all. So that to me was the weakest part of the show, and I think that's okay. It would have made a better show if that stuff was more built out. So Brian made the joke about Family Matters, but I actually wrote this down, so I'm going to take credit for it, that this really did feel like a Family Matters show, just with 1,000 times more budget. It's it's a family sitcom, and then they just threw a lot more money at it. So it was good, it was fun, it was lighthearted. It didn't seem to matter. The show or the story doesn't seem to matter in the greater MCU universe. Brian might disagree. He thinks maybe there's things that we're opening up, but let's stick with the show for now.
I don't see you have written Family Matters anywhere in these show notes, Wes.
Just
I'm gonna
Control
argue
F
that
it.
you did not write
Command F it. It's number 1B. Look in the show notes. 1B right there. It's in there.
Family Matters. Anyway,
moving right along after I've been proven wrong.
That's how you're supposed to do it.
I'm not acknowledging any of that. The show.
Edit that out.
The show is very engaging for all the reasons that you guys already iterated. I think we gotta point out also that Iman Vellani, who portrays Kamala, Ms. Marvel herself, is just a real gem of a find, right? Like somebody that they, in a way, feels like they just picked up at Comic-Con. They found the biggest Marvel nerd who happens to be South Asian and who's really into Ms. Marvel and has cosplayed as her before as a kid. And she fits right into the MCU so perfectly. As we're losing a lot of the sort of A-list characters and portrayers like Robert Downey Jr., we need new people to step into those roles and have somebody that we can really root for. And I've talked at length about how I don't think Doctor Strange or the MCU's version of Doctor Strange is that character at the moment. But honestly, Iman Vellani's Kamala...
Because he's a giant D-bag.
Well, I mean, yeah, there are multiple ways to portray it. They could be doing a better job at having a likable D-bag.
Yeah, he's not.
Iman Vellani, by contrast, and Kamala that we have here is just so irresistibly likable, and all her charm and all her whimsy and her naive teenage thinking. She is, I think she truly is the new Peter Parker for this generation of MCU fans. And I just can't love her enough.
She's so
And
easy
so-
to root for, dude.
Yeah, and I think that is part of why the show also stylistically really reflects her character. We've talked at length about kind of all the style flourishes that they put into the show, and I think we lose a little bit of that in some of the middle episodes because they're clearly spending budget on the fights and the actions and doing the graphics things for the superpowers. But in the final episode, when they return to the high school and have a standoff with the Department of Damage Control, it's kind of back in full force in the way that they portray this group of teenagers fighting against a government agency in a way that
with fire extinguishers.
There's still lots of stakes, right? We still feel the conflict, and we don't want bad things to happen to the characters that we love so much.
It was
but
major
they're having
Three
a
Ninjas
good
vibes.
time at the same. What was that?
I said it was major Three Ninjas vibes.
Yeah, but in the best possible way.
Yeah.
Right? Like when they
That's a compliment.
when they
Yeah.
capture three of them and they each hit the floor, one right after another, like splat, 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 like stuff like that is just like, to me, that's where Ms. Marvel takes it to another level that unfortunately we don't get a lot of in other MCU shows, where everything is like pretty flat and bland and kind of predictable. They're finding new ways to tell stories within this one particular show. So I'm really happy to see that. And my criticism for the show is the same as you guys. Like, man, like the overarching MCU conflict, the clandestines, like, glossed over. I mean, we're 1 minute we're in Jersey City, and then we're at a wedding, and it's just getting attacked, and then the next minute we're in Pakistan, and we're being introduced to all these different things, and we have like 3 different love interests, but we also have like different people threatening our main characters. So there's a lot going on here, and we might talk about this a little bit more, but trying to do all of that within 6 episodes to introduce this character, it leaves us wanting, right? And I think maybe this is also part of why the MCU generally doesn't have great villains, is because we're spending so much time investing in the main character that we just really don't have the bandwidth to spend time with villains and see who they are as characters and set up the dynamic between the villain and the hero. And so that thing is, really rearing its head in Ms. Marvel. It's just, they're trying to do too much. It's only 6 episodes, and this is an entirely new character, new brand. So all that time is spent with her.
Yeah,
2 or 3 more episodes.
Yeah, the writers probably imagine the conflict of the show is actually Ms. Marvel and herself.
Oh, definitely.
Right, and so that's why they spend less time developing and building out the clandestines. It's really about her ability to overcome her own fears, her own self-doubt, and her own wrestling with, what do these new powers mean for me? Should I be, an A-list superhero? Do I need to be as, like, amazing as Thor or Black Widow? Or is there something in me that I can do here in Jersey City? How do I do that as, a Muslim person who's not super devout in my community that I barely fit in, right? Or I'm dabbling in the duality of her own, nature and all of that. So I get why they didn't do it, and I don't think it is worse for it. I mean, maybe the clandestines aren't that big a deal anyways. I'm not sure.
She just needed someone to punch is what it comes down to. Like a great conflict in her inner conflict and what her powers mean for her relationships and her friends, family, and community. That's good enough for its own show. The problem is that you still need a reason for her to showcase these cool powers that ultimately it's a superhero show. And if it's just them talking the whole time, there might be good character development, but she needs to hit something. And
what about the
I
good
think
old
she
days
could've
where you
just
just
been a
stopped the bank
street level-
robbery?
Yeah, exactly. She could have just been a street level character, just
I
figuring
agree.
her way out.
I agree.
That way.
I thought
She didn't
damage
need a big
control should
bad.
have been.
Yeah.
No, I thought damage control could have been the main overarching villain, and then you have hints of the other stuff with the clandestines, but you leave it open for later. That's where I would have gone, but again, you only had 6 episodes.
That was the other villain, the Department of Damage Control.
Yeah, who
and
I thought was
they
a
also
better
get a
villain.
short shot, right?
Yeah.
We don't understand what they're up to enough to really appreciate that conflict too. So that's another.
See, they were
another
easier
place
for
where
me.
That might be
shortcut.
intentional. That I think they're just trying to drop little nuggets about DODC so that we're probably going to get more about them much later on down the
Yeah, because clearly they're meant to just be like the superhero police, which, you know, like to me that felt easier to accept. Like, oh, okay, so this is just an extension of the government police except for superpower people. That's easier for me to buy into and accept as a villain than the clandestines, who need a lot more backstory to kind of explain why they're a threat, and it still didn't really feel like threats.
But then we have this agent in the DODC who goes rogue and decides to attack a high school. Like, all of that just seemed odd.
I have a theory
right?
on that,
forcing
but
it.
yeah, I have a theory on that, but that might be getting into like other show spoiler territory, and maybe that's its own thing. One thing I want to say though, Brian, and Wes, honestly, something the show did I want to highlight for the show. The show did a great job of not taking itself too seriously. Again, like thinking about when they're fighting damage control. Like, damage control beats them, but it's still a very long, fun, silly sequence to watch that they ultimately lose. That was cool and fun to watch. Kamala, most of her scenes are pretty fun, low stakes, quippy. I like that they did that so that the show isn't super heady and serious. But the moment you did anything that was remotely history or partition related, the complete tone of the show completely shifted. And I really appreciate the intentionality between that, because it lets you know, hey, when we do silly things in the Kamala story, we're not doing that because we're trying to be cheesy. We're doing that because, like, it's a stylistic choice.
Yeah.
And I just thought there was a lot of I like how respectfully they did a lot of the historical sequences. And again, just the show did a great job of just highlighting historical events that a lot of people who in the Western world just might not know about. You know, a lot of Americans don't have
making a joke of
that
stuff would have been
in poor taste.
Yeah.
Yeah, but me just watching
imperialism, ha ha ha, isn't that so funny? All these people like running for their lives, yeah.
Yeah, it went from family drama to historical drama in like a snap, and I appreciated how they went about that. Even exploring, like, you know, conflicts between Hindus and Muslims. Like, there's a lot of historical conflicts that if you're just for most Americans, like, that's just not even remotely related to your immediate history, so you wouldn't know about it or have an immediate reason to do so. So
and
this show just
they did
made
a
me
good
more
job
worldly.
of kind of placing the blame where it belonged.
Yeah, they just called it how it is. Like, it wasn't like we're pointing fingers. We're just saying, hey, this is what happened. And
oh no, they definitely pointed fingers at the British. They were like, leaving in this format led to the conflict here in a very dark way.
Yeah.
So.
I guess I don't see telling the truth as pointing fingers. It's just saying what happened. Like, hey, and if it's your fault, it's like, hey, well, that's what happened.
Well, they could have presented it as neutral, right? Like, oh, this is just about Hindus and Muslims, and they were trying to switch places because of the violence, but they were like, the violence existed because of something previously that happened. So, yeah. So did this series need more episodes?
Absolutely.
Brian, would you have wanted 8 episodes, 9 episodes?
For the amount of stuff that they were trying to do, yeah, definitely. Like, I don't want to jump to Pakistan in, what is it, episode 4, and then suddenly be back in Jersey City, episode 5 and 6 or something like that. Yeah, I think they were obviously trying to do too much, and because they really worked that investment into Kamala and her family. We care about all the characters. And to Savon's point, the partition, I think, all of going into that history works because we are so interested in these characters and their family story, and we are rooting for them every step of the way. So the partition thing doesn't feel like, okay, now time to take your medicine, people. Like, we got to teach you something. It felt pretty natural and organic, I think. Otherwise, aside from the fact that it was rushed, right? And then so you got rushed conflicts with the clandestines, you got rushed conflict with Department of Damage Control, and you got a rushed backstory, this whole family history that they're trying to get into, so that they, can kind of elevate the show, to be honest, right? And talk about bigger themes. I think all of that would have been better served by having more episodes. This might be a 10-episode kind of show, right? Or if they're going to do 6, let's keep it street level, right? Let's keep the conflicts pretty interior and the dynamics about family and friends and what's going on.
I think I would have liked that.
Yeah,
6 episodes, but
and
down.
For a show that is trying to introduce a new character, completely new IP, right? and and just set up everything around their world, right? Like tell us about that world. Yeah, I think that sounds about right for all you can do in 6 episodes. And that would have been a great story by itself, I think.
Agreed. I mean, Disney, and I think I've said this in the chat before, Disney has the opposite problem that Netflix had, with their Marvel shows, right? Like the Marvel shows, like, I was a big Luke Cage fan when Luke Cage was on Netflix. I loved it. It was a character who, like Ms. Marvel, was underexplored, very niche, probably wouldn't appeal to a lot of mainstream audiences, but they got a show, people were excited. Luke Cage, though, was way too long. That first season was like 15 or like, I don't know. It was way too long. And they clearly just ran out of things to actually do with Luke Cage.
It felt like 2 seasons.
Yeah, it was way too long. And clearly they just ran out of steam, right? Like they killed Cottonmouth halfway through. Yeah. And that could have been a season finale in of itself. And they kept it going and the show lost steam. And that happened with a lot of the Marvel, like Netflix shows. Then
was that Disney Mahershala Ali's big break? Or was he already done at that point?
I think it was pre-Moonlight.
It was before Moonlight. Was that his big break? I don't know. I've seen him in so much stuff that I'm forgetting that was one of his breakout roles.
I mean, he was amazing.
Yeah, Cottonmouth was like top tier, right?
Yeah.
That laugh.
Yeah. No, he was great. But the point is, the show ran too long, and then that really just left a sour taste in a lot of people's mouths, myself included. Meanwhile, Disney, on the Disney Plus show, they have the exact opposite problem. It's like, hey, y'all still got big budgets, but hey, bro, you're trying to do too much for what's going to be only 6, 7 episodes. And I feel like, just find a middle ground. Do like 12. Just do like 11 episodes, dude. And like, why y'all doing 6?
I feel like it's the same total budget, but just crammed into 6 episodes.
Yeah, it's just like, just drop the special effects a little bit. We'll take a step back on that. Give us that extra 3 episodes. And
speak for yourself. I love the special effects.
Yeah. We'll be okay with She-Hulk looking like Gumby.
I mean, I don't know. I can live with special effects being not great if the story and stuff picks up on it and picks up the slack. Because that's how I kind of feel about The Boys. The Boys isn't some kind of special effects powerhouse show, but the acting and drama and dialogue carries it. The Marvel shows have done that in the past, but they're not doing that with the Disney shows in terms of giving it enough space to stretch out. It's too condensed.
All right, so let's take a step back into the wider MCU universe here. So there's a whole bunch of things. You can take this anywhere you want. We got this revelation that Kamala's DNA is a little bit mutated. Mm-hmm. They didn't say mutant, but they did say mutated or mutation, something like that. There
was a guitar string at that moment.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I couldn't believe they did it again. After we did it in Doctor Strange.
I'm so here for it. My body is ready.
There's what else do we got going on here? This idea of the Veil, the clandestines, having a different realm, they called it in this one. Not necessarily a multiverse, but there's a different realm that's going on.
Yep, that's different.
And then in the post-credit scene, which I got to be honest, I didn't realize there was going to be a post-credit scene, so I didn't stay through the credits and didn't see it. But I saw a little clip of it. There's like a little Harry Potter zip-zap body switch happening here. And so take that where you want. Brian, where do you think this show is sort of sitting in the MCU, or what doors does it open that you can see that you're looking forward to?
We didn't even talk about the bangle itself.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Which is also very mysterious.
Yeah.
But let's start with the big
arm.
One.
The blue arm. Is it a Kree arm?
Oh, 100%. Was there a blue arm?
No,
that's how they found it in the little tomb.
Oh, right. They pulled it off of.
No way that wasn't a Kree.
Well, Robin Williams' genie might be down there or something, or Will Smith genie.
Will Smith genie?
Yeah.
Will Smith genie's the new canon genie these days, I guess. Take that how you will.
A reboot. Let's start with the biggest one. I think the one that all the fans are most excited for, which are or
upset about. A lot of people salty too.
Because it's not Inhumans.
Well, it's
not
just
Terrigen Mist.
It's so funny because Marvel Comics were trying to deprioritize X-Men because they didn't have the movie rights.
Yeah, right.
So they made Ms. Marvel into an Inhuman, But then the Inhumans show tanked, and now that Disney owns the rights,
They're like, let's bring it back. Let's
they're
go back to
okay.
mutants. Yeah.
Let's come full circle. Let's make it mutants. And apparently, I read an interview that the original creator of the Ms. Marvel character had initially intended for Ms. Marvel to be a mutant. So it's retconning, but with the right intent, sort of.
Yeah.
So I think it's really interesting that they bring up that she's got a mutation. They played the guitar strings. And so now that just kind of opens the door to the existence of mutants in this particular Earth of the MCU. And what, you know, and then what's going to happen after that? Like Ms. Marvel herself, she kind of shrugs it off, right? But at some point, because they know this about her, does that mean that she will still be the harbinger for mutants and the X-Men in the MCU? Like, will she be the character that introduces us to other mutants? Or are we just going to be left to remember that, oh, okay, she has a mutation, but they're just going to introduce them some other way? I kind of would love the idea of Kamala being that linchpin character and for her to introduce us to other mutants of her generation. So I'm talking about like Gen Z mutants.
Like the New Mutants characters.
Exactly. That kind of introduces us to...
Which is a show, right? Isn't it
something
a show?
like the New Mutants? There was a movie, I think, The New Mutants, right? With Arya Stark was in it.
Yep, you're right. New Mutants was a film that came out 2 years ago.
So I would kind of love something like that, or even brand new characters, at least in movie terms. But the Generation X era of X-Men comic books. So, you know, dated, right? That's like from the 90s. So they would be more like the Gen Z, but Generation X, because it's got the X in it, obviously. But bringing us some of those characters who I love growing up, you know, people like Chamber and Sync and M, just really oddball kind of mutant characters, sort of like the more freak show end of the spectrum of mutants.
Yeah.
But also just younger, right? So that we don't have to get bogged down in Cyclops and Wolverine.
And they're getting that show anyway. They're getting that show, the animated series with them, so they're going to get lots of screen time.
They're still going to be
anyway.
on the radar. You know, everybody knows and loves them. But I feel like there's an opportunity here because, if we're using Ms. Marvel as a linchpin, there's an opportunity to explore new avenues of mutants, right? Like, people are already familiar with X-Men movies, right? They know how that goes. So can the MCU pull off something a little bit different now that we're using Kamala as mutant number one?
I mean, I think everything is true. It's just going to be a matter of how receptive our fans going to be to changes from the source material. I think they're very picky about it. I think that the MCU historically has done a great job of adapting the source material and changing things. But her being a mutant is going to be fun. The Inhuman thing sucks, but that's what happens when money and capitalism gets in the way of the creative process. You got to get creative. And so, I have faith that it'll be fun. What I'm most excited about, though, really is the Marvels. Like, seeing, because the actress who played Monica Rambeau, I already loved watching her on screen in WandaVision.
Is that the mom or the daughter?
The daughter.
The daughter.
Okay.
What's her superhero name again?
Spectrum.
When she's not Captain Marvel?
Spectrum, I think.
Yeah.
She has like two names, though. Like Photon is another name, I think.
Ooh, maybe it is Photon. We'll have to check.
It's fine.
But point is, I enjoyed her acting in WandaVision and her character. I
Yeah.
enjoyed Ms. Marvel, just her entire character. I actually think that Brie Larson's Ms. Captain Marvel, her character will benefit having those two beside her to play off of.
Oh, definitely.
I actually felt like the biggest issue with the Captain Marvel movie wasn't exactly Brie Larson as Captain Marvel. Her character didn't have a good person to bounce off of. Nick Fury was kind of that, but not quite. I think these two are going to lead to some really fun character dynamics of the experienced war hero, savior, and then basically two competent, but it's going to be fun to watch on screen. So I'm actually really excited for the Marvels whenever that comes out, I guess later this year.
It's a little bit like Peter Parker and Doctor Strange, right?
Yeah.
You got some hard-nosed, battle-worn character, and then the bubbly teenager.
Yeah. Like actually, that's fair. Like some characters, like Doctor Strange, Captain Marvel, you're not really going to like them in a vacuum because that's not what they're not really meant to be relatable and likable. But they're better playing off someone else who is.
That's fair. All right, let's rate the show.
I'm excited.
Yeah, let's rate the show. I think for our first effort, for what it was, 8.33333333.
Wow,
8 1/3.
That's a lot
really
of
gonna do
threes.
repeating.
Yeah, I think, and I think this show probably appeals to quite a few people. I do think there's probably people who wouldn't be into it, but I think if you're someone who liked the first Spider-Man movie, not the way back Tobey Maguire one, the first one with Tom Holland, Spider-Man: Homecoming, I think you'd enjoy the show. It's kind of centered around a little bit around teenage life. There's sort of a villain that's going on around them, but really the heart of it is the interaction between the main character and her friends, the main character and her family. There's a lot there to dig into, so if you enjoyed that, this is just kind of mostly a lighthearted show, although there are some very serious moments and some a couple of tough exchanges between the mom and the daughter, which I think is real life, and it made it feel real and lived in. So I think most people would like this show.
I think it's actually, for me, it's a lot better than the first Tom Holland Spider-Man movie. What was that called?
Homecoming.
Yeah. I think it's actually much more interesting because, one, we don't know what to expect because most people aren't familiar with Ms. Marvel. And so that's one. And then secondly is the setting that it's in a Muslim community, in a Pakistani community, going to Pakistan, in Jersey City. Like all of that helps make the show feel so much more fresh than a lot of everything else that's out there in the superhero world of movies and entertainment. And then they just they nail it. They really nail all those characters. They feel really developed and human and lovable. And by the end of it, you're rooting for not just Kamala, but her whole squad. And that's a real testament to what the show is able to build. And to boot, you got some pretty cool superpowers. I don't think we've seen anything like that in the MCU up till now. You know, when she does kind of like her own giant thing, I mean, I just love that. And that's kind of her iconic look in the comics. Yep. So I think that was a nice way to change up her powers, nod to how she looks in the comics, but also just show something exciting that we haven't quite seen before in the MCU. So all of that said, I give it a 8.66666666.
8 2/3. Savon, where are you at?
Yeah.
Don't roll your eyes. You're the one that did decimals on a 5-point scale 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, but I don't do repeating numbers.
It's still a rational number.
You could just think of it as 8.6 with a line on top.
Yeah, you didn't put the line over it. That's what upset me.
I can't do that on Google. I don't know how to do that on Google Docs.
Learn. No, but I'll give the show... Do I have to do the 7 or can I do like a letter grade?
Sure, do a letter grade.
I give it a B+.
Right.
Which is ultimately like kind of like what Brian gave, a high B, mainly because it was ambitious and the show did a lot of things that pretty much no other show I've watched has done, and I have to give them points for innovating. It's very easy to Brian's point about why I think I agree with his take about it being better than Homecoming, is that say what you want about the Spider-Man movies or whatever, you know the main story beats. Everyone knows the main story beats before you go into it of... he's Peter Parker, he gets bit, eventually he's going to lose his aunt or uncle or whatever. You kind of know it already, so you know this journey. This was unpredictable. We got dope, tasteful history lessons. Got to see a lot of culture that's just generally underrepresented in media, and when they are represented, it's not usually in a positive light. This was such a just genuine positive representation of just the larger Muslim American community, which, as a black American, I'm sensitive to that. I'm very conscious of how I see black people portrayed in movies. Or, okay, are we just put in subservient or gangster, type roles, or is it in uplifting roles? Like that representation matters. People roll their eyes at it, but that's a real thing. So just on the grounds of that, I have to give the show some points, and it was well executed. He said the bigger issue with the show is just they needed more episodes. But in terms of what I got, I'm happy with it.
Or less going on.
Yeah, either scale down the story or expand the show, but I don't think that takes away from the actual journey of the show, which was very well put together and executed.
Fair enough. So, friends out there, go watch it if you haven't watched it. It was cool. It was fun. It's not on the order of like Avengers Endgame. Like, it's not like one of those where you have to go see it in the theater kind of things. It's a good 6-episode show. It's fun. You could binge it in a week and be really excited that you had watched it. Let's actually do a segment we haven't done in quite a while. We'll do What We're Loving.
Woo!
Is
Is that what you were waiting for, Wes?
Yeah, I knew there was going to be a sound effect or you was about
What
to just
we're
keep
loving,
talking.
Well, remember, we actually got Duriel to do a sound effect in there for
Okay,
us.
that's right. So
A
you're
little
gonna put
hit,
in one.
so I'm going to put in the hit right there. All
Okay.
right. So,
We just standing there like, we'll do it in post. Marvel style.
all right, so let's do What We're Loving. I am excited about the one I'm going to talk about, but Savon, what is your What We're Loving this week?
All right, so for people who are listening, who know me, y'all know I don't watch movies like talking about it. The only movies I watch, unironically, are Marvel movies when they come out in theater. Like,
Wait, what do you watch ironically? Like, are you like?
I guess what I'm saying is that some
watching
people
like a
will
Trump
sit.
documentary
Oh,
that's
God, no.
pro-Trump, ironically?
God, no, I would hate myself. No. What I say is that some people exaggerate. I'm not exaggerating when I say the only movies I have seen
Literally
in theaters in multiple years has been Marvel movies or Star Wars movies. The only one in like probably the last 2 years that is neither of those I saw about 3 weeks ago. I was at home bored. I said, you know what, I'm going to just go to see a matinee at the theater. And I decided to go see Lightyear.
Wait, were you going with the intention of seeing Top Gun? Because you mentioned like I couldn't go see it.
Yeah, when I say couldn't, what I really meant was I lost the desire to do so.
Wow.
So you were on the way to see Top Gun and then swerved?
when
or
did
you
you
were like-
lose the desire?
Yeah, yeah.
Like,
When'd you go
Before you left the house or
like
after?
I'm on the website buying my movie tickets, you know,
Okay,
clicking
alright.
into the movie, and then I'm looking, I'm like, I could click Top Gun, buy my ticket, get to the theater for 11, watch it.
I think you made a mistake. Top Gun.
And then I
was
said,
You
am
went
I-
for the cartoon version of Top Gun.
And then I said, am I about to watch Top Gun? Like, do I care about
Yes.
Top Gun?
Yes.
I'm like, man, I'm about to watch this Lightyear movie. Like, that's Buzz Lightyear. This isn't going to be boring. And so I decided to go and watch it. Dude, that movie was such a just... I'm so glad I went and saw that movie.
Yeah, it was good. It
Yeah,
got kind of middling reviews.
Yeah, see, I said this in the last episode. Like, most people know what the hell they talking about. Like what are they doing? Like, what are they even saying, bro? Like,
Hey,
you know,
they
people
get
out
paid
here-
to talk. That's
I've
more
said-
than we can say.
Yeah, they gotta say whatever though. I'm saying, but y'all need
But
to
if somebody
read those
wants to pay us.
reviews. Those people judge a fish for its ability to fly and a bird for its ability to swim. Like, dude, I'm not going for this to see this stuff that you judging it for. I just want to be entertained for $10 for 2 hours on a Sunday.
$10. Where are you seeing these movies at?
Matinee,
That is
baby.
a fair criticism of critics.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm like, what? I got time
All right.
for
Well,
this.
what'd you like about it?
Yo, so yeah, first of all, a trend, this is a small but big thing. A trend in a lot of movies, especially animated ones, is that you feel like you have to throw in a lot of jokes for the adults. And there's nothing wrong with that. I appreciate that. But I also appreciate a writing team that can put together lots of genuinely funny jokes that weren't innuendos. It's just good, clean, G-rated humor. That movie had a
He's
bunch
here
of-
for it.
I'm here for it. That movie, because I think that's hard to do. It's easy to do an under the radar thing
Yeah.
kids don't know because kids don't know nothing. But as I was just sitting there, there's multiple moments in the movie. I'm like, oh, this bit is hilarious. Oh, this thing is funny. Like multiple moments, I'm just laughing out loud. Visually, the movie's just stunning to watch. There's a lot of space and battle sequences that it's just a 2022 animated movie. You're gonna get the eye candy experience. But what I enjoyed most about the movie is, hey, y'all. I'm assuming y'all have seen the trailer.
Yes.
The trailer makes you think you've already seen the entire movie. And so I went in feeling like, I know what the main story beats are going to happen, whatever. As long as it's entertaining, I won't complain. They definitely pulled a really big bait and switch in. Not the, like, you know the story is basically about a man lost in time, yada, yada. And that's still the core of the story. But the way that you get there is so differently done than what the trailer makes you think. That there were definitely sequences in the movie where I was absolutely tearing up because the way that they executed was like heartbreaking to watch. And I'm not going to spoil. I don't know. Does it matter if I spoil this
Wow.
for you?
Yes.
Yeah, don't spoil it. I'll
Okay,
watch
I
it
won't
on
spoil
Disney
it.
Plus
Okay,
when it comes
that's
out.
fair. No, that's fair. I won't
It's
spoil
interesting that you say all of that because I was, if you remember when we were talking about the summer hype before the summer came, I was actually thinking like Lightyear might be the sleeper hit of the summer, something like that. And then and then I saw the full trailer, and I was like, I think I know the whole movie. I'm not as excited to see it. So you have renewed my desire to watch it.
It is not. There were at least there were like 3 key moments in the movie where I'm like, oh, I had no idea that they were going to go this direction with it. Like, just all straight up. The intro of what the core root of the story is, I'm like, oh, it's one of these? Okay, interesting. Then the whole Lost in Time bit happens, like, oh, that's interesting. And then what our larger end plot and conflict is like, oh, yeah, I had zero idea. There's no way the trailers would have hinted at this. So if you're just thinking you're going to know what's going to happen, you're going to be surprised. But other than that, it was just a fun movie.
Have you seen quite a few Pixar movies?
Not in recent years. I've fallen off because, again, like, honestly, since the MCU has started, those are pretty much the only movies I, like, go to the theaters to watch. And, like, the last one I saw was probably, like, what, Up?
I love that you're still in Disney's pocket.
No, not Up. I'm sorry. Soul.
Okay.
Soul was the last one because we talked about it on the show. That was the last one I watched. So I don't really watch it. I just went at a whim. But yeah, refreshing story. It tries to be something deeper than it's meant to be. It's about teamwork, learning how to grow, knowing how to defer. And I read reviews about the movie. Some of the stuff people were complaining about was, like there's a same-sex couple in the story. They don't get a lot of prominent screen time, but it's tastefully done. I'm like, oh, cool. I'm like, oh, people are mad about this? I'm like, oh, if you were mad about something that was a very minuscule part of the story and doesn't actually really move the needle, then you're just being a hater. I can't take y'all seriously.
I mean, even if it was a big part of the story, they're still a hater.
Yeah, naturally. But yeah, to that point too. But it wasn't even like this feels like intrusive, or it feels like, they're trying to virtue signal. It's like, no, this was just a character who happened to be married to a woman.
Yeah, but that upsets those kind of people.
Yeah, exactly. And I felt like,
for no reason at all.
Yeah, so I'm like, if that's affecting reviews, not taking it seriously. But Lightyear, fun movie, not predictable from what you think you see in the trailers. It's not some deeper story, but there's lots of just silly, funny, lighthearted bits that are fun to laugh at, and you'll enjoy it. I think it's enjoyable.
Is it one you'd say, like, you'd recommend going to see it in a theater, or is it like, I can wait for Disney Plus?
The fact that it's a story that's
Do
meant
I have
to be
to pay
about...
for this? This is
all Wes
this
cares
is a
about.
bit.
Is it worth the price of admission?
Is it worth that $10 matinee? I don't know, Wes. It depends on what anything's worth to you.
What is $10 worth to Wes? I really don't have an answer for this.
It's a lot because I can get a Chipotle burrito, so it's got to be more enjoyable and better than a Chipotle burrito.
This man really messed with Chipotle on purpose.
I'm not sure you could get a Chipotle burrito for that much in New York.
Man,
a story that's like based partially in space and spaceships and like space technology type stuff.
Yeah,
I think that's fun to watch on a big screen setting.
Okay,
I'm watching it.
You're gonna go?
I think y'all should.
I'm gonna go. I'm sorry.
I don't think you're gonna watch it and be like, oh, this was a not good use of my time.
Okay. All right.
Like, I don't think if that's the case, then you got other issues.
I think the problem with Pixar movies is that they set the standards so high for themselves that anytime they make anything that's less than WALL-E or less than Inside Out, all the critics are up in arms. They're like, well, it's fine, but it's not up to their standards. It's not this great piece of art. It doesn't evolve past cartoon movie.
Yeah.
But to Savon's point, we don't need every Pixar movie to do that.
That being said,
but that's something
I
they've
felt
developed
for
on their own
Buzz.
too.
Yeah, but that's like, but I already been vocal for years about how you need to just go into things with not like you need to level set for yourself. If you go in expecting everything to be an Oscar, then you're going to be disappointed at most things that are still really good.
Well, but they earned that reputation. Nemo was great. Some people really love Cars.
But you didn't go into Nemo expecting Oscar. You just went in, and it was great for what it was.
I think at that point you were expecting some pretty high stuff from them. I was
a kid. I didn't expect none of that.
Like 90% of their movies have been really, really good, and because they take so long on them. I mean, they just take the care and time to really plan it out and go for it and really make the movie good, and they iterate and revise and go through again. I mean, and they only work on 2 or 3 movies at a time and space them out a year apart. So I mean, you're gonna get good stuff when you got that much firepower, spending that much time on it. I think Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness, we're looking at you.
No,
right.
you're looking at it. You gonna stop?
3
you gonna
weeks.
Stop
They gave
slandering-
I'm
you're gonna stop
side-eyeing.
slandering.
I'm
You're gonna stop
They gave that
slandering
man
Doctor Strange.
3 weeks to write that script. Like, come on.
Wait,
Yeah,
is that
but
true?
Yes.
Ugh,
And then
awful.
they gave him more time afterwards once the pandemic hit, but he had to turn in a script in 3 weeks.
Yeah, but you're not
It's
about
terrible.
to just. Yeah, but you're not about to just be.
That's bad movie making.
You like Love and Thunder.
Yeah.
I did.
Undercut.
I'm about to just use that to just. I'm about to just.
I'm not afraid of that. That's
Good.
Ted
it was fun.
Lasso.
Let the people know.
Ugh.
Oh, I love Ted Lasso. I think
Oh.
season 3 or 4 or whatever is coming
Ed
soon.
Sheeran.
All right.
But yeah, See Lightyear, it's fun. Like I said, I think they actually, for someone who doesn't care about Buzz Lightyear, they made him a. I felt for him. I felt for his
All
story.
right.
I was like, yo, you going through it.
I will definitely watch it on Disney Plus. I mean, I don't know if I'll go see it in theaters. Just it's hard for me to go see movies in theaters with the baby and everything. So, yeah, it'd be good.
Just
Bring
bring
those
hold
big
the
ass
baby.
headphones for a baby.
Brian, did you have a what we're loving? You didn't fill out the doc.
So that's because I couldn't really settle on one. There's been so
right.
much upheaval in my life recently. Me and Anna finally bought our first home
Hey.
in
Hell
the
yeah.
Clinton Hill neighborhood of Brooklyn. Look out for me. So there's
Are
that.
there any other famous residents of Clinton Hill that we should be aware of?
You know, the New York Post just had an article that there was a spotting or a sighting of Tom
Bigfoot.
Holland and Zendaya
Oh.
and Bigfoot looking like apartment shopping or home, probably not apartment shopping, probably brownstone home shopping, maybe Clinton Hill block shopping in my new neighborhood. So
Awesome.
maybe
So it's
they're
the,
around.
It's the spot.
Otherwise, it's me, local celebrity.
Hey.
Yeah.
Confidently
and I
wrong
think,
host,
and I think
award-winning
maybe
director.
friend of the show Derek. I don't know if Derek still listens to this, but I think friend of the show Derek
up,
lives
Derek?
in Brooklyn.
He
Derek,
listens.
look me up.
Derek definitely listens.
So there's that. I also finally got my hands on a PS5.
Hey!
that boy eating.
Wait, how
Like-
did that happen?
I don't know. I
The
just
stork?
checked the Discord on a whim, right? I'm a famous procrastinator with a laptop or with a computer.
Yeah.
And I was procrastinating. I checked the Discord and I was like, oh shit, there's a drop on PS5 Direct.
Oh.
Or PS Direct. But I didn't get the email. I signed up for the emails to get alerts.
But you didn't get alerts.
Directly from PlayStation. Did not get the email. Saw that there was a drop that just happened.
Got in the queue.
I was an hour late, though, mind you.
Yeah.
So I jumped on, and the first thing I saw, PS5 Horizon Forbidden West bundle.
And that's the one you wanted.
The very thing that I was waiting for, right? And disc edition. I have missed out on PS5s because I didn't want the digital. It was the one I wanted. I snatched it up.
Ooh.
Next thing I know, sold out. I think I might have got the last one. I don't know.
Man, the
But
guys
so
are
I
smiling
finally
on you,
got.
player.
I didn't set it up until after I moved, so I had it for like a week. I didn't
Oh, there would
touch
have been
the
no
box.
way. I would have
Yeah, well, you-
never not opened it for a week. Good
I would have
I-
plugged it in just to watch it do nothing. I wouldn't even play it. Just plug it in. Just like, nah, just warm that joint up.
Lord. Yeah.
I think Wes would have humped the box.
Oh
probably.
my goodness. There's no way.
I kept it in the I kept it in the closet.
All right.
I'm good at delaying gratification.
I'm terrible.
I was raised Catholic.
Master
so
edger.
it makes it that much better. So I mean, so there's that. I've been playing Horizon. I've been playing Stray. I got Stray.
Oh, you got
the
Stray?
cat
You got the
game
cat
this
game?
week. I got
Oh,
the
we
cat
know
Oh, you
game.
got the cat game.
There's all of that. I also went to Vancouver for a wedding and like
Oh my
did some
goodness.
hiking. I done a lot of stuff, but actually,
This
I
man
saw
just humble bragging about how he leveled up like 3 times in the
Yo.
past 3 weeks.
That's
My
some
life
power
is
level.
dope, and I do dope shit.
Sorry, not sorry.
I saw Nope last night.
I'm an
Go see it.
international traveler.
All of that. The thing I'm gonna land on, though.
All right.
I'm gonna land on. My mom recently had surgery.
Oh,
Spoiler alert: she's fine.
okay, great.
She's doing well, but she had to had to convalesce. She's told to basically stay at home, don't do anything, don't lift anything heavier than the comforter, or like don't even lift the comforter.
Is she a busybody? I feel like she's someone who's like always on the
kind
go.
of a busybody. She's kind of
Okay.
a busybody.
Oh, so she
And she loves working, right?
She's like semi-retired. She still works twice a week, but gives herself.
Is she a
projects.
doctor?
She just did
She's smart.
she just did her med school reunions 50th anniversary yearbook. Like, who even makes a yearbook for something like
For
that?
your
But
med
she was the
school?
one
No.
that did it.
All right.
Volunteer basis, right? So she's a busybody.
Okay.
I'm with her over the weekend, making sure she doesn't lift stuff. I'm like, let me cut
I got
your
it.
meat for
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
That level. She finds herself on the couch, doesn't know what to watch anymore. All of her she's binged through all her shows, right? She's she watched
Sex in the
like,
City.
with Bridgerton and stuff like that, Downton Abbey, stuff like that. HBO, she has cable, mind you, because she's of that generation.
Yeah.
So HBO is doing an all-day Game of Thrones marathon. And I catch my mom just sitting there binging through Game of Thrones season 1.
Oh
I was
my
like,
God.
Is
What a
that
great
Ned Stark?
season.
Ned Stark is on the screen right now. And she's like, she's actually seen it before, when the
Okay.
rest of us did.
Oh, she's
but
seen
probably not carefully. Was not watching carefully. is not an Uber geek. So she's watching it. She's like asking questions like, "Oh, who's this Littlefinger person?" Or like, why is that person fighting for Tyrion? Or what? She doesn't even call him Tyrion. Why is she fighting for that little guy? And it's like there's kind of like me watching her watch the show and getting so much joy out of it. I'm like, wow, this show is fantastic. It is just still to this day, that season 1, head and shoulders above most things that we're consuming now and in the time since. And I'm watching her get excited watching Littlefinger groom prostitutes at the brothel, like all kind of messed up stuff, man.
Yeah, man. Yeah, that's that
Only
quality
Game
stuff.
of Thrones can do that.
Awkward
Game of
mom and
Thrones
son moment.
brings families together. That is my message. And then
Oh, they brought families together. That show brought families together.
Oh,
I was
gosh.
like, that was
Season
a
1 over?
recurring thing.
season 1 over, she goes into season 2 on her own. That's what I'm talking about. That's some great stuff. Game of Thrones.
Nice.
That's what I'm loving.
So it still holds up. It's still good.
Still holds up. Perfect for my mom recovering from surgery.
Beautiful.
Love
Wait,
that.
and can you give us like a 30-second reaction to your beginning moments of Stray?
Stray is fun.
Yeah?
I hate cats. I'm a dog person.
Dogs
for
all the way.
sure. I'm allergic to cats. So I have some very bad memories. Plus,
It's in
I
your
just don't
blood.
like the way they're trying to pounce on people. Like, have you ever been surrounded by cats in a living room? I have, and it's not
no.
fun.
I make good life decisions, so no.
Yeah, it's like,
Yeah,
give
that
me
was
the
on
broom.
you.
I'm gonna like poke the shit out of this thing. Anyway,
They got claws,
Sorry,
bro.
BK. Sorry, BK.
stray cat. You are a stray cat in a cyberpunk world where there are no humans. I'm not deep into the game just yet, but I didn't know that there are no humans in the game, so it's got a
robots.
layer of intrigue.
Yeah.
Layer of intrigue there, and you play the cat. So from that perspective, is kind of a lot of fun. You
Okay.
jump a lot of. It's a lot of platforming, but you're jumping to heights that you wouldn't otherwise do with a human type character, and you also can do a perspective from the cat, so that's interesting. And running through little holes, nooks and crannies, knocking cans of paint over, causing that kind of mischief. A lot of fun. I'm looking forward to jumping back on that DualSense with the haptics and experiencing more of Stray. So definitely
actually a
something
big
to
part
keep
of
an
their-
eye out on.
That's a big part of their marketing, the DualSense adjustments they made.
Yeah. I think it's easy to take it for granted, but as soon as you jump off of the haptics and play another game, you're suddenly wondering like, where's the tautness in the bowstring, right? Like, I think it adds a nice level of texture to games. And the interesting thing about Stray, I was balking at the price. So here's where I turn into Wes. I'm like, $30 for that game that people say only takes like 5 to 7 hours to complete.
Mike said he's not getting it for that exact reason. I was talking
my
to him
God.
yesterday. I was like, Mike, you got the cat game? He's like, no, I'm not going to pay $40 for
Who's
$30
paying-
for a 6-hour game. What?
You
I'm going
could
to wait
buy
till
it-
it's on discount.
You could buy an actual cat for $30. For someone that knows nothing about cats, I
I'll
think
get
that's
a cat
true.
with Olive before I pay for a cat game.
For
Channeling
sure.
my inner Mike.
That would be 100% entertaining.
However, life hack, you can get it on PSP Extra for Frizzle, and then you just cancel that shit, which is my game plan. I got the alarm set. Cancel PSP Extra.
Oh, PS Plus.
PS Plus.
PSP is an actual device from many
Sorry.
years ago.
Yeah, it was the handheld.
Gotcha.
PS
Okay.
Plus Extra.
Is that the highest tier?
It's the middle tier.
The middle tier,
So
okay.
I had to pay the difference for the remaining time on my current subscription, so
Okay.
it's like a few bucks.
And then you got
and-
Stray.
And a few bucks is worth Stray.
Yeah, but you'll lose
that's where I'll
access
put
to
it
it
at.
once it expires.
Oh, okay.
Because that's how PS Plus, like all the free games you get with PS Plus, or having PlayStation
You have
Online.
to have the subscription in order to access it.
Yeah,
That
but
makes
it's
sense.
like, but if you're playing online, you pretty much have to buy it, so it's functionally free if you online game in the slightest, you know.
Yeah.
But
But-
Brian,
But this game
Brian
takes
doesn't have to
5
replay
hours?
this. Yeah.
Yeah, if you play through it and
I'm
don't
gonna
play
be
it
done.
again, yeah, then you set.
I need
Alright.
one more sitting. I'm probably done.
All right. Well, that was close to 30 seconds, so nice job. But now I might check it out. It's kind of it looks cool. I don't know if I'm gonna play as a cat for 5 hours. We'll see. All right. So I'm excited to talk about the one that I've chosen for my what we're loving. I've been wanting to talk about this for a month. I brought it up about a month ago, and I've just been like, let's talk about it. And then we had other things come up on our show that were timely, like Thor and everything. So
We're just trying to edge you. Ew.
So,
Why did
I
I
always
say
saw
that?
Lightyear.
on HBO Max. I saw a trailer for this a long time ago in theaters, maybe before Minari, actually. I was like, oh, that looks like a great movie based on the trailer. The movie that I'm talking about is called Blue Bayou, and not
Is that where the emphasis is on Bayou?
Blue
Blue
Bayou.
Bayou.
Yeah.
It's
I mean, we
like
said
you
Blue Bayou.
made blue.
All right. And it's a story based in New Orleans. And I think the premise is basically there's this young man. He's Korean in ethnicity. He was adopted. And then he sort of gets picked up or something like that by the police and ends up getting into the deportation process. But he's someone who doesn't remember having lived in Korea at all. I think he was adopted when he was less than 3 years old. He's lived in America basically his entire life, and he's lived in Louisiana his entire life. So that's the premise of the story, is like, what is his life like? How did he get into the situation? And then now what happens now that he's been set for a deportation hearing and deportation and all of that, given that this is his home, right? Beautifully shot, first of all. They must have shot it on film or something approximating film. The shots they come up with in Louisiana are phenomenal. You're getting to see sunsets. You're getting to see the bayou. You're getting to see the streets of New Orleans, or at least parts of the streets. I think they live on the West Bank. And just a great performance by Justin Chon, who is also the writer of the show. The movie. I don't know if he's a director as well, but man, such a good experience movie. It really emotional. I was telling Savon that there's no reason why he would want to watch this movie at all.
Yeah, it's just like a downer, just top to bottom.
It's not top to bottom that it's a downer, but there's definitely some very heavy moments. And there's some beautiful moments and happy moments too. But it's a struggle. I mean, he's living very much paycheck to paycheck, but like not staying afloat. You know, that kind of situation. So there's a lot of pressure and stress, and he does find time to find beautiful moments, but it's also a very hard segment of his life that they're portraying. So
Is it all about suffering? I think that's the
No.
key.
You had to think about it.
no, it's not. It's not well,
You had to think about it.
Yeah,
Like,
'cause
you
I
had
got-
to filter some suffering.
No. It is. There is a lot of heartache and difficulties and suffering. And I don't think suffering is the right word, but a lot of really difficult situations. But I don't think the movie is about suffering, if that makes sense.
What is it about then?
I think it's more about like the struggle in that situation.
The beautiful
also-
struggle.
When I think struggle, I think suffering. Those are kind of like
no, those are different.
Well, there's some agency and struggle,
Yeah.
right?
He's not miserable the entire time. The characters aren't miserable the entire time. There's definitely parts where they're heartbroken.
So they find joy in the day-to-day stuff, but their larger situation is still like, yo, this isn't quite ideal.
I think so. Yeah. And
So
and some of the parts aren't, right? And some of the parts aren't ideal, like, obviously. So, yeah. I mean, it's I don't know. I think it's brilliant. I think a lot of people should watch it. I think some people shouldn't watch it. Like, if you're just like, no, I don't want to have a movie where my emotional heartstrings are tugged the entire time, like, not a movie for you. But
Nice.
if you're willing to watch the movie invests you so heavily in this character and his life that you feel every moment of every like scene in a very like visceral way.
Did you cry?
Yeah. How many
Yeah.
tears did you shed?
Yeah, you were you crying? Was
Were you
that how it
bawling?
works?
I cried at the end.
So Blue Bayou had you Blue Bayouing?
Boo-hooing. Yeah, boo-hooing.
What?
Had you Blue? Oh, that was better.
What level of tears did we get? Was this a ugly cry?
No,
was
no,
it
no.
a sob?
Or was
it
it like
a
a
weep?
fat tear just sitting on your lower eye, just sitting there, just wait like a levee waiting?
Shout out to Michael B. Jordan, who's mastered that.
No, it was like I had to go get some water from the kitchen because it was emotionally like hard.
Okay.
Did you watch it with
that's,
Jen?
That's like a similar.
Yeah.
Did she cry?
I don't think so. Maybe.
But
at
she's
the
a
end
stone-faced killer. You don't
Yeah.
know Jen. She'll cut you.
Oh wait, is Jen just like ice cold?
Jen
She's
does
like,
cry, but yeah,
I
she
don't
was-
mess with that.
Nah,
guy.
she doesn't. She doesn't really cry from movies and stuff.
Oh, that's funny. Okay,
Yeah.
I mean, I'll look at a trailer.
I think it was a phenomenal movie. I do want to say there's a caveat here, which is the story is based on some real life events and situations. It's not based on any one person necessarily, but there's been actually a couple of adoptees who have come out against the movie, saying that Justin Chon sort of exploited their story without really consulting them and putting their trauma or their story up on screen without their permission. So I think take that with a grain of salt, that there are some people who live in this particular situation in this community who are like, hey, this movie kind of wasn't cool because they sort of appropriated our story and appropriated that without giving us any voice or say in how the movie turned out. So I think be aware of that. That's not an unfair criticism. And I still don't know that necessarily takes away from how great this movie was and how clearly the person who built this movie and put it together loved movies and loved stories and loved just this particular story. Everything seeps through in every dialogue, in every scene, in every acting. Justin Chon is not someone I've heard of before. The woman who plays his girlfriend is more famous. She was she's in Irma Vep. I'm not sure her name. I could look this up, I'm sure, but she's in Irma Vep.
Alicia Vikander?
Yeah. And she plays someone who looks like she sounds like she's from Louisiana or America, because I don't think she's American, but she sounds American in the movie. Anyways, that was a long bit. That was what I was loving. I couldn't wait to talk about it with you guys. It was so good. But you do need to be ready to like have your emotions like kind of all over the place.
Chest
Where can you
open,
watch it?
heart available.
What did you say?
Where can you watch it?
On HBO Max.
It's definitely been on my list for
Yeah.
quite some time.
Oh, shit, got HBO
I
Max.
do think check
I
it
need
out.
to emotionally prepare myself to watch it.
And I don't want to say it's like you have to be so emotionally prepared, like you can't recover from it. But I think I was still thinking about it the next day. It was like still sitting with me.
So part of the reason why I've also been excited for this movie is because I actually made a documentary that's very similar in topic, Asians getting deported for being involved in the criminal justice system.
Award-winning director. That's where it comes from.
Wait, is that the
their
name of the
awards.
movie?
It's called Keep Saray Home.
Oh, I thought it was
it's-
called Asians
Bye?
Getting Deported.
Oh,
No,
no,
when
no,
you
no,
said
no.
that, like,
sounds like a
I
comedy.
I also did a film. I
Hilarious.
did Asians Getting Deported. I'm like, that's a little on the nose, huh?
It's like,
Okay.
dude, I thought you were a filmmaker.
Like,
That's not subtle at all.
word? Sorry, continue.
That's actually the secondary title. It's a colon. Asians getting no. But it's similar similar circumstances, except it's funny that you mentioned Korean adoptees being mad that maybe this guy appropriated their story, because this is actually quite more common in the Southeast Asian community, with a lot of folks, a lot of Vietnamese, a lot of Cambodian, Laotian folks who are refugees, get caught up when they're young in difficult circumstances, maybe get incarcerated, and then get put on the pipeline to deportation to places that they fled as children, that were being destroyed by the U.S. So kind of a crazy situation. Blue Bayou is very different, obviously, but shares that linkage.
Yeah.
Of Asians being deported.
Stop. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry I even opened that can of worms. I really thought that's what you said.
Anyway, I'm surprised, Wes, that I thought we were talking about Top Gun.
Oh my goodness, I love Top Gun. Savon didn't go see it.
Because I wanted to see Lightyear instead, and that was my what we're loving. So, sorry, not sorry. Lightyear was better.
Hey, I'll say this, and we don't have to go too much into Top Gun. It's fun. I think a lot of people have seen it already, so they don't need my recommendation. I recommend it to everybody. I think I think anybody would enjoy Top Gun. It's just it's not lighthearted. It is popcorn, very much blockbuster feel. It's Top Gun. It's Tom Cruise being Tom Cruise, but there's emotional weight to it. It has a decent story, and Miles Teller, that dude can act. I don't know. I mean, I don't know how else
Rooster?
to say it. Yeah.
Mr. Fantastic.
I know we've known that he can act, but he I hate using this word. He elevates this particular movie because he's in it.
Why you hate that word?
It's just everybody uses elevate, like we elevated this foie gras, or elevated this fried rice. I could come up with a different word, I'm sure.
Yeah,
it's just the one that got
cliche.
stuck in my head.
People are only saying it because other people are saying it. You know what I mean?
Say uplifted.
He did. He uplifted this movie.
I actually think Miles Teller in Top Gun is whatever. The real star of this movie, fighter jets. Oh my God. Incredible. And how they were able to film it.
Yeah.
Like those two things combined. To me, I was wrong about Lightyear being like a potential movie of the summer, and I really was anti Top Gun remake or sequel or whatever. But Top Gun was like effing good. It was just like
good.
Incredible on
and
a
the
big
plot
screen.
is stupid. The plot is so dumb.
It is worth $10 matinee. It is worth $22.
It's worth seeing in theaters.
3D or
sound is
4D.
It's worth seeing in
RPX.
theaters.
Absolutely. And I think that's the only way to watch.
Well,
So should I go see it tomorrow?
Yes.
Yes.
I mean, because it depends. I mean, it's the sound really. Like the picture is big and that's important, but it's the sound. Like you're hearing the jets. You're hearing like just the power of like these machines. You're not going to get that at home,
It
even with
sells
headphones. Yeah, it's just more
right.
immersive. I'm sure.
Yeah. Also, I'll admit, Wes, like straight up, I was on that train too. I was very low on Top Gun. Like, oh, Top Gun, they're completely just doing stuff from the 80s.
Yeah.
And apparently, even though I haven't seen it, I haven't heard bad things, and the movie made a whole lot of money. So,
A lot of
money. I can concede when I was wrong. You was right on that one. You were gassed up from the bounce, and clearly it lived up to the hype and collectively delivered to other fans too. So, Wes, I'll give
Yeah, it's just a big
Wes
adrenaline
gets the
rush.
dub.
take your dub.
Yeah,
He gets the dub.
I'm taking that one. It's a
Take
big
your
adrenaline
dub.
rush, but
Talk your shit.
Don't go in expecting a story.
Swag
the
out, my friend.
The actual mission is so dumb.
I mean, I just figured it'd have to be because like jets don't even really fight in real life,
Right,
Because
yeah.
that's
Yeah.
just
They
not
just do
how
patrols.
warfare works.
They're
Yeah,
deterrents.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the whole point is that if you have to use jets in fighting other jets, we have way bigger problems right now.
Yeah, you have let a lot of things go.
Yeah, like
that
video
point.
games make it seem like jets they be throwing these $1 billion jets at each other like Legos. It's like, hey,
Nope.
bro, like no one's trying to use these things.
No.
But they legit know how to fly them, which is the best part about this movie. When you
Yeah.
see what they do with these jets, and you're like, none of that's CG. Well, maybe
Some of it is.
a fraction of it.
I mean,
I think the bullets are
Yeah.
CG.
Well,
Everything else
going
real.
through the bridge, CG.
Okay.
But Wes-
Whatever. Still
no way they let them
incredible.
go through the bridge.
Still incredible.
Yeah, it's
But-
crazy.
But in fairness, Wes, I talked about how when I saw Lightyear, right, they did like a long 2-minute, 5-minute extended feature, and it was that scene. I guess since y'all saw the movie, it was the scene where Tom Cruise's character is doing the practicing against all the people, making them do the push-ups, and he's just like that was the part I saw when I was at the then they did the extended,
like behind the
exclusive
scenes kind of stuff,
the exclusive
Yeah.
preview. So I just saw a whole training sequence of Tom Cruise just like smoking everybody, and I can admit when I'm
If you
wrong.
got
I'll
time,
go see
if
it.
you got time, go see it. I do think it's worth it.
I'm really
It's a
busy
summer
Sunday.
treat.
Yeah.
All right, no, this is like a big screen.
It is
get
a big
lit,
screen.
sit in the theaters and watch your world get rocked. I'll
Yeah.
go do that. That's what the movies is for.
Yeah, it would be great. If you wanted to, smoke a little, I think you could still see it.
All right, no,
Definitely.
I'm just not trying to see no
yeah.
sad historical piece with people being dramatic and talking like folk don't talk in real life. Just if this is like a Marvel movie with Tom Cruise, and give me that.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh hell yeah,
But-
I'm in that.
But in an old school way, right? Because
Yeah, that's
it's
fine.
not relying on the CG.
Yeah, I mean, well, I didn't even see Top Gun in the '80s. I'm a '90s child, so I'm either way. I'm just show me jets and fighting, I'll be entertained.
Yeah, I never saw the original either. So,
Really?
Yeah, I'm just a hater. I only know Hot Shots. And Hot Shots Part 2.
Hot Shots is good too. All right. Well, let's wrap up there. That was what we're loving. We talked about Lightyear. Brian, what'd you talk
Go
about?
see it.
Game of Thrones.
Oh, Game of Thrones season 1 plus
Yeah,
a little bit
mama.
of Stray thrown in there. Blue Bayou. Amazing film. Top Gun. All of these things are worth your time, ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't seen them. So please go do it.
we
Let us
only
know
pick
what you
winners
think.
here at Confidently Wrong.
Oh, hell
only
yeah.
winners.
Brian, remember, Brian is the pioneer. He's the trendsetter. He brings us the stuff ahead of time. He knows what's going to be hot. So Stray must be the next thing because Brian's on it right now.
Brian has
Only
awards.
if you get it for free.
Like I'm saying, Brian has awards. Just pull rank. Like whenever people start questioning you, Brian's like, "Hey, I'm sorry. Where are you? Where's your?
Are you
award?
an
That's
award winner?
interesting. Are you an award-winning director? Wow, crazy I am. So why don't you
So,
shut your
I
trap and fall in line?
I could show you the shelf with all the paperweights that prove it. But, I don't have to.
And congrats on your new house winning at life. For
Yeah,
sure.
also.
I mean, that's really just marrying Anna, who's got the money.
Hey, that's part of the deal. It's part of the
Yeah,
deal.
if there's anything I've learned from the Confidently Wrong crew is that all of y'all just clearly have married up and are just living the dream. And I'm like, dang, I gotta get like y'all.
Definitely
Yo,
got it.
ladder
I
up,
got-
son.
Hey,
Ladder
where y'all finding all these medical professionals? Wait, is all y'all wives medical professionals?
No, mine's an engineer.
Oh, dope. What about you,
Software.
Wes?
Yeah.
Oh, come on, y'all got all these. Y'all, I'm
No,
effing
Jen's
up.
a doctor. I met her in
Y'all, see, y'all-
college. Brian
dang,
knows
so
it.
y'all- Dang.
Get in early.
Yeah.
Dang, so y'all got doctors and engineers.
You should
and,
have been pre-med,
Mike's
man.
spouse's fiance, she'd run a hospital or something.
Yeah.
Dang,
She's a big top administrator or something.
Dang, y'all eating. I gotta level up. I gotta find me a superintendent or something.
You got to reset those filters on Hinge, my friend.
Oh yeah, I gotta double. I gotta
Do
get
some
back in the game.
occupational filtering.
6K
Yeah,
salary only.
level up.
Real estate, a must.
You know what? Yeah, I'm gonna strive to be like, yo, I got my new 5-year plan.
All right. Well, that'll take us out. We'll see you hopefully next week. What do we got coming up?
We said Harley
I-
Quinn.
Oh yeah, Harley Quinn. I am
New
Groot.
season next week.
She-Hulk is going
I'm
to be
gonna
soon.
advocate we talk about Nope. That's the other
Oh, yeah,
thing.
we should- no, we
It
should
might
do Nope.
be too late to see Top Gun in theaters. I don't know. Maybe you can find it. But Nope is
Ooh.
maybe the new movie of the summer.
Was
So,
Nope good?
And
I'm
can
gonna
I
say
see
that.
it? Remember, I don't like scary movies, and neither does Savon.
Oh,
Can
absolutely.
we see it?
Absolutely. Yeah.
All right, I trust your judgment.
Okay. All right, Moby. So we'll check that out, and then maybe we'll talk about that on the next show. Man, there's so much coming this fall. The list is Nope, Harley Quinn season 3, Sandman, The Bullet Train. I want to see that. I know that's not necessarily up our wheelhouse, but I want to see
Oh,
Bullet
I want
Train.
to see it.
I Am
for
Groot.
sure.
She-Hulk comes out in August. House of
Oh,
Dragon
yeah.
starts in August. Andor starts in August. Guys,
Lord of
August,
the Rings.
Lord of the Rings starts right at the beginning of September. Like this next month and a half is going to be crazy for content. So hopefully you guys have saved up all your energy and you're ready to binge watch all of this stuff.
And let us know shows that y'all are watching too. You know,
Yeah.
like let us know what's on your radar because y'all might have some good suggestions.
Sounds good. Hit us up. Bye.
Bye.